On today's episode of Locked On Oilers, an absolute rout by the Edmonton Oilers on the Arizona Coyotes. What went well for the Edmonton Oilers and what can they build on off of this massive win? We will talk about that and much more in today's episode of Locked On Oilers.
You're Locked On Oilers, your daily podcast on the Edmonton Oilers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On Oilers podcast. I'm your host and former Oilers game day producer, Brett Holden. As mentioned on today's episode, we're going to start off with the big Oilers win over the Arizona Coyotes, a massive 8-2 win there. A lot to talk about, a lot to break down, but can it be a building block for the Edmonton Oilers? We will talk about that in just a second, but also on today's episode, we're going to talk about Klim Kostin. As on yesterday's episode, we debated between Puljujarvi and Klim Kostin. Well, maybe we got a little clearer of a picture as to who may be in favor. And we will wrap up today's episode as it was a game day yesterday for the Oilers with the good, the bad, and the ugly from the game against the Arizona Coyotes. All that much more on today's episode of Locked On Oilers. Thank you so much for making Locked On Oilers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you find your podcasts. Alrighty, let's start off with the massive win for the Edmonton Oilers, an 8-2 thumping of the Arizona Coyotes. And we said yesterday it would be nice for the Edmonton Oilers to take advantage of a team that's been on the road for 33 days, 14 games on that road trip. And it's the last day of that trip, and I'm sure they really didn't want to play this game. But yeah, the schedule is the schedule, and the Edmonton Oilers got the win over the Coyotes. Connor McDavid, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points in this one. Now, Connor McDavid, after the game against the Arizona Coyotes, is as followed. First in goals in the NHL with 24. First in assists in the NHL with 28. First in points with 52. Third in the league with power play goals with 9. First with power play assists with 16. First in power play points with 25. And first in the league with points per game. That is from Bob Stauffer, of course. And Connor McDavid, we were coming into this season going, can Connor McDavid get 50 goals? Can Connor McDavid... Well, Connor McDavid's almost already halfway to 50 goals, and we're not even at the halfway point of the season yet. Eesh. Yeah, 2 goals, 2 assists, as mentioned, for him in this one, 4 points. And what else can you say? As Louis DeBrusk said on Oilers Now, sometimes you feel like you're talking a little too much about Connor McDavid, but every game he gives you a reason to. That pass from Leon on that on their McDavid's first goal, that just not even a seeing eye pass, as you could see the lane just open up. Connor McDavid gets to the pass, wraps it around into the net. You almost feel bad for Connor Ingram, as he was just left for dead in that one. But Leon Draisaitl, as mentioned, getting the assist on that one. Also chipping in with a goal for 2 points, in the game against the Coyotes. Now, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins also getting 2 goals in the game. He now ties Paul Coffey in the Edmonton Oilers on the all-time list in goals with 209. I think that tells you how long Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been in this organization, but B, it really talks to the quality that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins not only has, but has also portrayed throughout his entire career. So, and as an Oilers fan, that's something you love to see, because, everybody knows the keep Nuge forever and everything like that. So it's big to have him get this type of accolade, I guess, for the Edmonton Oilers, because he deserves it. Derek Ryan also chipping in with one of the players with multiple points in the game, a goal and an assist for 2 points. And it's taken this long to get to Klim Kostin. Well, Klim's going to be a theme today, as Klim Kostin highlighted in that one, and everybody's talking about Klim Kostin. The fight against Zach Kassian, getting an assist on the Derek Ryan goal, and as well getting a goal for himself. That was what that's really what helped the Edmonton Oilers in that game. Yes, 2 goals for for Connor McDavid, a goal for Leon Draisaitl, 2 for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. The Edmonton Oilers got scoring from people not named Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Again, 2 from Nuge, as mentioned. Klim Kostin with a goal. Derek Ryan also with a goal. Brett Kulak also chipping in with another one. Brett Kulak's on a heater. But the Edmonton Oilers, we talked about it, I believe, just last week. If they can get more than 1 goal, so they got 2 goals in this one. They got more than 2 goals from other people. But if the Edmonton Oilers can get at least 2 goals from anybody not named Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, the Edmonton Oilers are going to win a hockey game. And that is exactly what happened once again. Dylan Holloway also chipping in with an assist, which quietly. But I think I really want to talk about the attribution or the contribution, there we go, of the bottom 6. Dylan Holloway, James Hamblin, yes, Puljujarvi played a fantastic game. And yes, you can put the quality of competition on display, whatever that may be. 7 wins on the season. I believe this is their 13th or 14th loss, maybe even their 15th loss of the season. So yes, you can put that into consideration. But Klim Kostin, Devon Shore, and Derek Ryan played fantastic. Now, Tyler Benson was put on waivers today with the purpose of assignment down to Bakersfield, and the rumor is that Warren Fogle will be joining the team on the road trip after they play home and home, or they'll play at home against Minnesota, then fly down to Minnesota to play Minnesota once again at the XL. And is it still the XL Energy Center? After the Staples Center changed to Crypto.com, I don't trust any of these anymore. But either way, sounds like Warren Fogle will be back. But the question now becomes, who draws out then? Because Holloway got the promotion in this one. Hamblin got the promotion as well in this one. And they played well as a team. Klim Kostin, Devon Shore, Derek Ryan. Jay Woodcroft said in his press conference after the game, noticeably, they were very good. So who draws out of the lineup now? Is it Puljujarvi? I don't know. Is it Devon Shore? Then if it is Devon Shore, do you knock Hamblin down to the 4th line? I don't know. But what went well for the Edmonton Oilers, and the reason why they won this game, is because they played a full 60 minutes. They scored the first goal. They scored the second goal, and they kept piling on. They didn't get their foot off of the pedal. And as Derek Ryan said, it was a mature third period. Yes, they allowed the goal in the third period, but they came back, and 19 seconds later or something like that, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins scores immediately after and puts the game back to where the good vibes were. And the Edmonton Oilers went on, obviously, to win the game. That was a win the Edmonton Oilers needed. Yes, it was against a depleted Arizona Coyotes team. I understand that, but still, that's a game that you are supposed to win. You need to win, and the Oilers won it by a lot, as they should have. And finally, and excuse my language here, as an Oilers Nation article said, the Edmonton Oilers kicked ass. And that's what they did. And finally, they kicked ass. That's the big thing, is that they finally did it. Yes, they won 6-3 against the Pittsburgh Penguins, scored 6 goals. The Oilers scored a season high 8 goals in this one, and they won by 6 goals. That is the team that everybody's waiting to see from the Edmonton Oilers. So, Stuart Skinner as well only had to face 16 shots of 18. He now has a save percentage of .915, which is above league average right now at .904. So, I think that's really telling as to, yes, he wasn't very busy, which is very difficult for goaltenders to really get into a game, and that's good. Heading into the third period, they only allowed 10 shots against, so that's difficult for a goaltender. Either way, he still came out on top, still came out after a 47 save performance. That's good to see. So the Edmonton Oilers are back at it on Friday against the Minnesota Wild. As mentioned, that is a home and home, so they will play the first game in Edmonton and then fly out to Minnesota and tie that one up there. Let's move into our conversation about Klim Kostin, as we talked about or debated whether or not you'd rather have Jesse Puljujarvi or Klim Kostin. Well, is there a clear edge now? We will talk about that in just a second. But first, today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball to soccer and esports, they've got it all at BetOnline, guys. I'm sure you probably saw Jason Hayward signing a minor league deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think that's going to really affect the Los Angeles Dodgers' odds to win the World Series. I'm just saying. And if you love sports podcasts, which if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do, you can find those at BetOnline as well. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Alrighty, let's move into Klim the Dream Kostin. As Klim Kostin gets a goal and an assist, the Gordie Howe hat trick as he fought former Edmonton Oilers Zach Kassian. And we talked about it yesterday as Klim Kostin has a lot of very underlying stats, very nice and appealing underlying stats that makes it, it gives him a little bit of an edge. But then you see the game yesterday over Puljujarvi, I should say. But then you see the game yesterday. And what else can you say other than this kid belongs on the team? Every game he has played so far, I don't want to hear those people go, he's had one good game. He's only played well against the Arizona Coyotes. You haven't been watching Klim Kostin. You haven't been watching the Edmonton Oilers, because this game that Klim Kostin had, he was due for. He has very much so been very impressive in the offensive zone. Derek Ryan has even said he loves playing with him because he plays with an edge. He goes out there, tries to win those little puck battles. And look what happens. The Edmonton Oilers go out there and win a big, big hockey game. A lot of thanks, goes to Klim Kostin and that line in general. And we did talk about the my favorite stat, the goals for and goals against per 60 at 5-on-5 and in all situations. And now both of those stats have gone up even more for Klim Kostin. Why? Because he was effective. And now you're hearing a lot of other people now going, maybe this guy deserves a little bit more or bigger chance. Maybe he should be seeing time in the top 6. Why not? We said it yesterday. Why not? Warren Foegele's coming back on the road trip. You're going to have to do some sort of rejigging somewhere, somehow. Why not? Jesse Puljujarvi has not been, he has lost his confidence. He had, I'd say, a decent game again on that third line alongside Holloway and Hamblin. But again, a lot of the conversation about that as well has been, it's the competition. Whatever. A good game is a good game. It doesn't matter who it's against. But let's go into those underlying stats again, as those underlying stats weren't exactly in his favor when it came to offensive numbers. But now, you're seeing a little bit of a bump. His goals for per 60 minutes at 5-on-5. He was 15th on the team after the game with a 2.22 goals for per 60 minutes. He is now at 11th on the team in goals for per 60 minutes. And then in all situation, a 2.19 up to 12th as well. Now let's take a look at his defensive stats. Because, yes, he scored a goal, scored an assist, got the fight, but you still got to prevent goals. And the Edmonton Oilers only allowed 18 shots, 10 of them before this third period started. And Klim Kostin does a job in his own end as well. We saw him throw a massive hit on Patrick Nemeth. He always had his fingerprints all over this game. His goals against per 60 minutes now for the Edmonton Oilers is at a 1.63, which is third on the team, only below Devon Shore and Kyler Yamamoto, who again he himself had a very good game. I don't think enough people are talking about Kyler Yamamoto's game as well. A quiet 2 assists, one of his first games coming back, and was playing in a top 6 role, and he played very well. Give him props there. And in all situations, Klim Kostin now has a 1.61 goals against per 60 minutes, sitting at second on the team, only behind Devon Shore. There was the argument last year of, Puljujarvi needs to play more because he's these exact same stats, basically. When he is on the ice, the other team isn't scoring. Simple as that. And why not give him more minutes if the other team isn't scoring when he's on the ice with guys like Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Kyler Yamamoto? How about a line of Klim Kostin, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Kyler Yamamoto? Kyler Yamamoto and Klim Kostin can go in there into the dirty areas, battle it out, and win games. Win games. Not only battles, but win games. And now you see he's not afraid, like he said, he's not going out there and looking for a fight. He just wants to go out there and play hockey. But he's not going to defend himself, and he's not going to defend his teammates. We saw it against a very tough customer in Zack Kassian, and Zack Kassian was not happy with Klim Kostin. Klim Kostin made him bleed. And we saw the after effects on Klim Kostin's hand. He caught a helmet or something, but he tussled with a very tough opponent and probably won. And now you have all these fans getting on the Klim Kostin train, and he says today, as reported by Daniel Nugent-Bowman, I feel at home here. Well, take a look at the Jesse Puljujarvi situation where he says, I don't know if this league is where I can be a top player. And I don't know if my place in this league is with Edmonton. It's the duality of man. And one of those players right now is making the most of an opportunity, and the other one is not. I am really looking forward to what Klim Kostin can continue to do for the Edmonton Oilers. And I genuinely hope you do too, because this guy, I have said I made sure I took time out of my day every single time I could to make sure I could watch Klim Kostin play in person when he was playing in juniors. Genuinely. As he was coming in with his draft year, Klim Kostin was one of my favorite players in the draft. And now you see why. He can go out there. He has a wonderful shot. He can hit. He can stand up for himself. And honestly, I'm trying to find my notes here because I did read it out before. But Klim Kostin is the real deal. He's a first rounder for a reason. And genuinely, he has a big upside. This is what I said about Klim Kostin in the heading into his draft year in 2017. Same year as Kyler Yamamoto. There you go. Klim Kostin was a player that I did not know too much about when I started this list, but man, has he played his way into my heart. I was lucky enough to see him play against Team WHL in the CIBC Canada-Russia series, and with his skills aside, he has that Russian edge to him and will not back down from anyone. Kostin is resilient on the puck carrier and the puck making it through. Commas were a thing back in 2017, I'm sure. And the puck, making it tough on people from anyone to separate him from the puck. He is a pass-first player this was back when he was a puck mover, I guess. He is a pass-first player, and he knows where he wants to put the puck, and he puts it there. But when he does shoot, he has a quick release and a strong shot. He has been away from his KHL team, Dynamo Moscova, due to the Canadian-Russia series. However, this season he has no points in the 8 games he has played. However, 27 penalty minutes in 8 games in his draft year. At that time, I think he finished with over at least 80. So he has continually had this edge to him. And you've seen the development of that now into the NHL, and hopefully he can keep it going. Let's move into the good, the bad, and the ugly from that beautiful game against the Arizona Coyotes. But first, I want to thank you for making Locked On Oilers your first listen today. Now for your second listen, make sure you tune in to Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights that only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you find your podcasts. Alrighty, we're going to wrap up with the good, the bad, and the ugly from the game against the Arizona Coyotes, as we always do after a game. And you know what? I'm twisting the rules a little bit in this one, but that's okay. I came up with them anyway, so what are you going to do about it? No, I'm just kidding. The good from the game against the Arizona Coyotes for the Edmonton Oilers was a mature third period. As Derek Ryan said, that was their big thing for this game. Yes, you're going into the third period up, 5-1 at the time, whatever it was. And it's pretty easy to just be pretty lackadaisical and go through the motions and just go until the buzzer goes. And that's fine sometimes. But Arizona came back, the Oilers scored a couple. And then only the Arizona Coyotes came in and scored. And then you go, shoot, maybe don't go home yet, guys. Maybe there's something going on here. But again, the Oilers allowed that goal, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins comes out the exact next shift and scores a goal, puts everything back at ease, and okay, let's keep riding this ship. And that's where I sit here and I go, yes, it's an 8-2 game, but again, it's the exact same thing when you win big, and when you lose. You have to sit there and you have to take a look at the process that got you to that either win or loss, that process that got you to that result. And yes, maybe you take a little bit into account of the result, but you do have to really invest in the process, not the outcome. So that is why this is a very positive thing for the Edmonton Oilers. They did exactly what they needed to. They took advantage of a depleted team. They were up by a country mile in the third period, and they made sure that they stayed up by a country mile. That's what you need to see. We have seen recently with the Edmonton Oilers, they're scoring, they're up 3-1, and now they're down and they just lost 4-3. Or in the case of the Chicago Blackhawks, they were up 4-1 in a span of 17, I think maybe 19 seconds in that one too. It's a 4-3 hockey game. Look at what happened against the New Jersey Devils, a game where the Edmonton Oilers should have been able to coast it out, but they weren't able to have that mature third period, and they lost in 7 seconds. But in this one, they didn't. They were able to have that mature third period, put the Coyotes away, and win the game, and now we're having this conversation. The bad from the game against the Arizona Coyotes is Klim Kostin. No, he wasn't bad. Klim Kostin is just a bad man as he registers the first Edmonton Oilers Gordie Howe hat trick of the year. Fight against a former Edmonton Oilers, stood up for himself as well. Got the goal, got the assist. A really nice assist. I think a very underrated assist as well. As it was a smart play, get it out of the zone, get it to an area of the ice where your teammate or your line mate could get to the puck and potentially do something with it. Derek Ryan turns into Connor McDavid, roosts it backhand or puts it in backhand. And you know what? It was after then where you went, oh, okay, this game might get a little ugly here. And you got that secondary scoring, and a lot of that had to do with the spark that Klim Kostin provided throughout the game. Got that hit against Patrick Nemeth, was always in it, and that is what you love to see. So the bad man, Klim Kostin. And the ugly from the game against the Arizona Coyotes for the Edmonton Oilers is, well, the game itself. It was an ugly one. 8-2 win for the Oilers, and that, again, is exactly what the Oilers needed. It was an ugly win, and no, I don't mean ugly as, oh, they just barely got through. No, it was an ugly win because it got out of hand. That is good for the Oilers. Again, I know everyone will say, oh, it's the Arizona Coyotes, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? That's a game that you're supposed to win. And if the Arizona Coyotes come out and win that game, we're having a totally different conversation. But since the Oilers won, now they're like, oh, well, it's only the Coyotes. No, you don't get to have it both ways. It does. You get to stick to your guns either way. So once again, the good from the game against the Arizona Coyotes, a mature third period. The bad, Klim Kostin, as he's a bad man. And the ugly, the game in general, as it just got out of hand. A massive 8-2 win for the Edmonton Oilers as they improved to 15-12-0 on the year. And they look to improve on that in the first of a home-and-home against the Minnesota Wild on Friday here at Rogers Place. 7 o'clock puck drop at Rogers Place, as mentioned. And, well, hopefully the Edmonton Oilers can get some revenge from only a week ago as they lost against the Wild in Minnesota. Let's wrap it up there as we will be back with a little bit of pregame heading into the Minnesota Wild game. But until then, stay safe, everybody. Hopefully, after that game against the Arizona, you absolutely partied through and played La Bamba, baby.